For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely. You're here with Shotgun Spratling for instant analysis of USC's 54-52 win over UCLA. The Trojans come out with a season sweep of the Bruins. It was a senior day, and the seniors definitely stepped up. Jonah Matthews with the game winner. Shotgun, what do you make of today's performance?
I mean, this is exactly the way you dream it up. I mean, knocking down a three-pointer with less than a second remaining to beat your rival on senior day. I mean, you can't imagine anything better for Jonah Matthews. And he went through some struggles earlier in the game. A couple minutes prior to that, he missed some free throws. USC had a chance to kind of salt the game away a little bit earlier. Instead, a little flair for the dramatic is what Andy Enfield called it. Said he thought he missed those free throws on purpose to set himself up for the game winner. He knocks it down. They drew up a play for him. Basically, they said that they were going to get the ball to him. They expected Cody Riley to make a free throw because Andy Enfield joked because they made all the rest of them. I think UCLA went 14 of 15 today at the free throw line. So Cody Riley, they had called a timeout. He makes the free throw to go ahead. 9 seconds left. What are you going to do? Put the ball in your seniors' hands on senior day, and Jonah Matthews does the rest. Gets a nice screen from Onyeka Okongwu, and then he saw that he had a big on him, and he knew what to do. He said it was just muscle memory once he started to rise up and shoot the shot, and he knocks down a three-pointer, drains it. I mean, just right through the net, swish, and USC gets a big win for them, not just to beat your rival, but also with Pac-12 seeding on the line and, with an opportunity to help pad their resume to try to get in the NCAA tournament. I think this gets them into the tournament. I think this is the win that kind of confirms it for them. Now we'll see if they can do a little bit of damage next week when they go to the Pac-12 tournament.
Mm-hmm. Going back to that play, it stood out to me that Enfield said they were going to live and die with Matthews, and Matthews' response was, well, we're going to live today. What did you take away from that play and Matthews' confidence?
I mean, that is exactly a Jonah Matthews response. I mean, that's been the player he has been throughout his career. And, it was a great play by him to know exactly that when he got a big on him, what he wanted to do. He didn't hesitate. As soon as he got the screen, saw that they were switching on it, he said that he was waiting to see if they were going to try to trap it, and then he would need to pass the ball, get the ball to Onyeka Okongwu, or if they were going to switch. And he said, as soon as they switch, I knew that what I had to do, and he knew that Jalen Hill couldn't guard him. A nice step back shot right there. And it's the confidence of a senior that's grown up in the program and a four-year guy. He said that was, it was like Jordan McLaughlin, that he knew what to do, he knew how to take care of it. Whereas at times this year at the end of games, USC has struggled with their final play execution. They put the ball in the hands of their freshmen or their graduate transfers. A little bit different with Jonah Matthews. He knows exactly what to do, takes care of it, makes the big shot. And he took off celebrating down the court. Ethan Anderson's jumping on his back. He'll turn and look back, and he pushed Anderson away and said, go play defense, because UCLA was able to throw the ball in a three-quarter court shot to try to win it there. Did not go in, thankfully, for the Galen Center, because they were already going crazy. They may have missed it, actually. It was great to see the crowd was really into this game, and I think the seniors really thrived from that, because it hasn't been often that they've had a packed house to play for, but a sold-out crowd today. So congratulations to the seniors finishing off their career at the Galen Center with a nice win, but also to be able to do it in front of a packed house, it makes it a little bit more special for them, I think.
Mm-hmm. Offensively, it wasn't the prettiest start for both teams, and Enfield said it was a typical USC 2020 basketball game. He said we won 22 games because of our defense. What do you make about this team's offensive struggles in that sense?
Yeah, their half-court offense can get stagnant. They get bogged down, and they have to rely a little bit too much on trying to create off the dribble and not having enough motion in their offense. So, it's been a defensive battle all season, and that's what you expect to come into this game. With what UCLA has been able to do recently under Mick Cronin has all been defense-related. So, they had won, I think, 7 or 8 in a row coming into this game, and it's because they had been playing a lot better defense than they had earlier in the season. So I think USC had to match that, and they've been playing great defense all season as well. They haven't been able to run and gun like they would like to do. If you remember back when they had Jordan McLaughlin as a freshman with Julian Jacobs with that two-point guard system, that's the ideal system Andy Enfield wants. He wants to run and gun. He wants to get up and down the court, the dunk city that he was known for at Florida Gulf Coast, but he doesn't have that personnel this season. They've got freshman point guards. Kyle Sturdivant is back with the team after, the bereavement leave for his father's death, but he did not play today. You got Quentin Adlish, who just can't really take care of the ball as a true point point guard. He's more of a shooting guard. And then Ethan Anderson is going to develop into a good point guard, but not there yet. So they want to slow it down and play half court. They don't really have the personnel to run and gun. So that means you got to play really good defense. You can't give up, some easy baskets, and they've done that. And having Onyeka Okongwu in the middle, that definitely changes things a lot for this defense because he can swat shots all over the place and helps out those guards. They can play up tighter a little bit more and know that they have that line of defense behind them. So I think that it's been a tremendous job. And one thing that was really interesting, and Andy said this previously, but that they changed the way they wanted to coach defense this year. And because of that they're seeing different results, they think. And, it's worked out. We haven't really gotten to the specifics of what exactly they've changed, but you got to give them credit for what they've done. I mean, they held UCLA to around 30% shooting once again. And, they're in the close games each and every game, so that means you're going to have a chance there late if you can execute. And today, they executed with a three-pointer to win it.
Mm-hmm. As I mentioned, it was senior day today. There's a lot of talk about both Nick and Jonah and their time here at USC. They're not the normal college basketball player, the one-and-doneers. What do you make of their time here at USC?
I mean, they became the winningest players in USC history with today's game. We figured it up actually at practice earlier this week with Andy Enfield, another reporter, trying to figure exactly how many wins they had compared to last year's group, because USC has had sustained 20-win seasons under Andy Enfield for the most part for the last 5 or 6 years. So this group, they came in. He talked a little bit about Jonah Matthews when he signed. There were 7 or 8 guards on the roster, and there was nothing guaranteed to him. Some guys leave, and suddenly he's getting playing time as a freshman, and he's continued to get better and better as his career has progressed. And you have to say the same thing about Nick Rahosovic. I mean, he came in, he was a very skinny post player out of Chicago, actually was known more for his shooting and stuff, and he's continued to add weight, add different elements to his game. And he played pretty well tonight, and those two guys combined have led this team all season. And then you throw in the freshman. We should just call it departure day, because Onyeka Okongwu, it's going to be his final day here as well. He goes out with a great performance. At one point he scored 14 of USC's 17 points during a stretch to kind of span the half, I believe it was. And a absolute monster dunk for his final basket. So, it's a good way to remember his time at USC and at the Galen Center with a big basket late in the game, throwing down over a UCLA defender. He's been incredible this season, but, they've had 4 seniors with Quentin Adlish and Daniel Utomi, the 2 graduate transfers coming in as well. It's been a new team, but it all starts with those 2 guys, Jonah Matthews and Nick Rahosovic. They're the only 2 left with Elijah Weaver from last year's roster. So when you completely turn the roster over, you got to really rely on those old guys, the veterans, and they've been huge for USC this season.
As you mentioned, USC gets a first-round bye in the Pac-12 tournament. Jonah Matthews talked about how this team is on a roll since defeating both Arizona schools. What are you seeing for this team, and what does that bye do for them?
It gives them a lot of confidence. The way they're playing gives them a lot of confidence. The bye gives them an extra day of rest, and that's crucial, because the Pac-12 tournament is set up where if you are not a top 4 seed, you have to win 4 games in 4 days to win the tournament. Yeah. There's only been 1 team to do it so far. I believe that is in like the 8 or 9 years they've done it. There've only been 2 teams to even make the championship game that had to play on the first day. So for USC to get a day off, get to observe, and now your opponent that you're facing the second day has just played a game the day before, you have an advantage there, definitely. So they bump up to the 3rd or 4th seed. We'll see, depending on a couple other games today. But they got to give a lot of credit to Utah. Utah winning in overtime over Colorado helps out USC a lot and pushes them up. And now first round bye, we'll see. They're playing with a lot of confidence, like I said, and with the way they're playing defense, this team has a chance. They could win some games in Vegas and go on a run, win 3 games in 3 days. It's not impossible. I think they have the talent as long as they play defense, and that's something that travels. Defense travels, and in tournament situations, when legs get tired later in a tournament, if you are continuing to hound people on the defensive side, it makes it that much more difficult to make some shots late in big ball games. So I think that if USC can knock down a couple shots themselves, they got a great chance to go to Las Vegas and make some noise.
I was about to ask you your prediction. Are you willing to put any specific predictions on the line here?
I'm still haven't seen the full bracket yet, so there's a couple teams that USC matches up with better versus other teams. So no, I'm not gonna go there yet. But hoping to get out to Vegas in between USC football practices next week, as that starts. But I think, like I said, this team has an opportunity, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. And if they knock down a couple of three-pointers early in a game, their confidence rises so much. Daniel Utomi, in particular, when he hits an early shot, he usually hits 3 or 4 of them. So if they can, get him going a little bit, make a shot early in a game, I think they have a great opportunity to go out there and make a little noise and maybe even bump that resume up a little bit more and earn a better seed in the NCAA tournament.
So you think they were on the positive side of the bubble conversation? You think they're already past that?
I think this win gets them in. They're 22 wins now. They've got several solid net wins, several quad 1 wins. I think there are 4 or 5 quad wood wins now. They don't have really bad losses like some other teams do. So I think this gets them in. Now if they go and win a couple more, maybe they boost that seeding up because depending on who you look at, which bracketologist you look at, they're sitting around that 8-9 seed. And if you can avoid the 8-9 game, you definitely want to. If you can bump up to 7 and get away from a 1 seed, because the 1 seeds are basically playing home games too. So if you can avoid that one, the potential of the second round matchup with a 1 seed, I think that's really big for them. So there's still an opportunity and some important games to play for USC, even though I do think that they are in the tournament now.
Alrighty, any final thoughts before we wrap it up for the last time from the Galen Center? I say that like we do this after every game.
No, I think it's great. The basketball fans came out for this game, and congratulations to the seniors to get this win and move across, and also to Jonah Matthews. Not only did he get the game winner, but earlier in the game he set the school record for 3-pointers made, breaking Elijah Stewart's record. And Elijah Stewart, I'm sure Elijah Stewart had something funny to say to him when he talks to him in person. He said he already got a text from Elijah that said, Jonah said, I knew this was going to happen. But I know Elijah was probably hoping that it didn't happen. Hoping USC won, but hoping he could still keep his record. Not going to happen. Jonah gets that one. And now they're just hoping to build on the number of wins that they have as a senior group and make it that much more difficult on the guys that are here now in their next few years.
I lied. One more final thought. We can't close out this without talking about football. The entire USC staff was here in attendance watching the game. A lot of unofficial visits. It was a big day for football as well.
It was a great atmosphere. I mean, you had all the football coaches here. You had a number of the football players here. The football coaches came out and threw T-shirts. The players came out on the court during halftime. Reason performed, who's actually the brother of Prentice Gill, a former USC grad assistant who's now at Arizona State. But he performed had a halftime performance. You also had former USC football players here with Adoree Jackson and Jordan Simmons, Rasheem Green, Iman Marshall. You had Nick Young on the sideline. So LaMelo Ball shows up as well, so it was a great atmosphere, a great rivalry game, and hopefully this is a build for both programs. Both of them have strong seasons. First year for UCLA. You would love to see this be the atmosphere for every single game that these guys play against each other. You love that rivalry, crosstown showdown. The baby blue and the Cardinal, on the court at the same time, on the field at the same time. Great color. It's a wonderful atmosphere when the fans are really into it, and they definitely were today. So the football team, not only did they come out and support, really big recruiting today too. A lot of local products in here, and I think showing them the atmosphere of what the Galen Center can be when the fans get behind a team, it is something to show those fans, those players that they're recruiting, especially after maybe they came to a game at the Coliseum last year and there wasn't the same type of encouragement and the same type of support behind them. But I think they see when USC's winning what can be going on around them. And like I said, there was a lot of recruits here. We'll have some stuff on the P about that. But a big recruiting day, and a number of offensive linemen, number of some out-of-state guys as well. So I think it was really big for the football team. That the basketball team played well to help them out a little bit. So that's how it works. Athletic department working together to have everyone be successful at the same time.
Alrighty, that's going to wrap it up from the Galen Center for Shotgun Spratling. I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.